Alright. Hello. Here's a game I thought I would have never thought I'd be doing a playthrough of. But, yeah. Surprise, surprise. I've already recorded a video for the series. This just being a kind of an announcement video of future plans for not only this series, but a few of the other series that I started recording videos for. When I'll upload them remains to be seen, since I'm still doing, as of right now, still doing Zelda Oracle of Ages, which I'll immediately follow up via password connection with Oracle of Seasons. Still doing Dragon Quest VII. Only 10 recorded videos or 5 uploaded videos into that series. That's probably going to take well over 100 videos in total due to how long that game is. So yeah, while I'm recording these videos, it may very well be another year before I actually upload them. Who knows? Which makes me wonder, now that I said you're talking about it, makes me wonder why I'm even bothering recording them yet. Thought I'd record them now while I'm still optimistic about doing so, just in case my attitude changes by the time I actually have time to commit to that playthrough, so to speak. This game specifically, since again I used to hate this game. I mean, you see Final Fantasy II on screen there, but anybody who knows the backstory of Final Fantasy knows that this is actually Final Fantasy IV, Super Nintendo, 1991. Final Fantasy II, that is the real 2, never got released here for years to follow until the PS1. No, this is actually Final Fantasy IV. And how many videos have I made where I diss this game, sometimes seemingly go out of my way to do so. Yeah. But I've been, like I'll mentioned in the first video of the series, whenever I upload it, I've recently been playing the Pixel Remaster, and it got me thinking, what was it about this game that I never liked that made me just never even put the game in again for another 30 years? So yeah, I mean, like I point out in video 1 of the series, whenever I upload it, last time I played this game was just before Final Fantasy 4 or 6 rather came out. Granted, it was Final Fantasy 3 here in the West. Like, okay, screw this game. We got a much better Final Fantasy game to play now. I haven't played this game since, at least not until the Pixel Remaster. Yeah, sitting there playing the Pixel Remaster on my Switch, wondering what was it about this game in its original form that made me hate it so. So here I am, 1/2 hour so video into the series, actually liking the game. I think the problem I had with this game was the same problem I had with my first playthrough of Dragon Warrior 2 back in the early 90s. It was back in those days where I was still trying to run from as many battles as the game would allow me to, and therefore making it to later areas drastically under leveled and getting my butt kicked left and right as a result of such, and hating the game for it, cursing the game, when in reality I should have been cursing myself for not fighting those random battles. Anyways, of course, most people are well familiar with the story of that game by now, so it's not like I'm spoiling anything, but just in case. Yeah. Again, recorded 2 videos for that series already. When I'll upload them remains to be seen, but it's another series that I started recording videos for. My second favorite Final Fantasy game, topped only by Part 7. Final Fantasy V. The game that we here in the West never got on the Super Nintendo when it was released in 1992 in Japan. We got Mystic Quest instead, which was a good game, but not as good as this one. We didn't get this one here in North America until 1999, the Sony PlayStation, along with Final Fantasy VI as Part 6 and not 3, this Final Fantasy Anthology double game set. But due to CD load times on random battles and everything else, and some of the dialogue being atrociously bad, make that version of this game not so memorable in most fans' estimations. I, for one, was eager. I had overlooked that because I was actually able to play the game. But looking back at it now, yeah, I could see that was kind of. This, of course, is the Game Boy Advance remake of the game several years later. And again, I've already recorded the first couple videos of this game series. Again, when I'll actually upload those videos remains to be seen. These two Final Fantasy games, plus another series I recorded one video for so far. Well, Metroid 8, technically, following Metroid 2, Super Metroid, the Prime series, other than the last game in the timeline, at least for the longest time. Granted, Dread now takes that on, being the last game in the Metroid timeline. Of course, speaking of Super Metroid, today being April 9th, a little over a week from now, it's the 30th anniversary of that game. Can't believe it's already been 30 years. Damn. Almost, not quite technically until the 18th. Yeah, Metroid Fusion, one of the two Game Boy Advance Metroid games, along with the Zero Mission remake of the first game. This game came out in November of '02, at around the same time the first Prime game did. So, like the game, but as I'll be mentioning several times in my playthrough I already have in the first video, I'm not a fan of the linearity. Again, that's just the old retro Metroid fan, having played the NES version of the first game so many times and how open world it was for a Metroid game, for an 80s game in general. What the hell? Okay, I didn't do that on my playthrough. What? Okay, well, good thing I already got those videos recorded if it's going to start doing that crap. Okay, I don't know what that was just now, but you saw that. Again, good thing I already got the first video or two recorded. Just gonna start doing that. But anyways, as I was... Shoot, what was I... Dang it, now I lost my chain of thought. Anyways... Shine sparking. Yeah, this game in Zero Mission, and now more recently Dread, go heavy on those shine sparking puzzles. Oh good god. And some of them just aren't worth it, the amount of frustration for a measly missile pack. Yay. Anyways, yeah, another series I started recording videos for. Anyways, course, speaking of Super Metroid, as I did earlier, 9 days from now, today being April 9th, April 18th will be the 30th anniversary of not only, in my opinion, the ultimate Metroid game, but one of the three best games of all time, period, topped only by Final Fantasy VII and Ocarina of Time. Super Metroid. Can't believe it's already been 30 years. I remember, well, renting this game at the time, because I'd played the first game so many times by 1994, over the last 6 years, since '88. Didn't care too much for part 2, because A, it was on the Game Boy, the system like like I've said before, I couldn't play for more than an hour before literally getting a migraine headache, and it couldn't have been just a coincidence, as somebody tried to say, because it happened every time I try holding and playing that thing for more than an hour, staring at that little 2-inch by 2-inch square screen. Every time. So yeah, it couldn't have been just a coincidence. So there's that, the fact that, at least in its original form, while it was revolutionary for a Game Boy game of the early 90s, still, the game was done much better in either the fan remake AM2R, another Metroid 2 remake, or the official 3DS Samus Returns. But yeah, at the time in April of '94 when this game came out, I remember thinking, oh god, another Metroid game. If this is as bad as part 2 was, forget it. But it was a Metroid game, so I'll rent it, see what it's like. If I like it, then I'll buy it. I did, and I did. Well, I did like it, and I did buy it. And over the years since, it's gone on to be, again, one of my 3 favorite games of all time. Now, I'm not going to do a playthrough of this game. I already did, actually. Rightfully so, one of the first games I did do a playthrough of. Granted, I could go back and play it again, improve on that playthrough, since it took 4 or 5 hours? Since I had the compulsion to 100% the game, which I would again now, even if I was to replay it again. I can't play this game and not 100% it. It's just me. Call it a flaw, call it a weakness, call it stupidity, call it pathetic, call it lame, call it what you will, yeah. I just cannot play this game and not 100% it. But yeah, I don't really, so it took me a little longer than it should have. I don't mind. Part of that, of course, was not only my compulsion of 100%ing it, but that first energy tank, trying to bomb jump into that. Took 45 minutes. Of course, I edited that all out of the video you see on YouTube if you watch that. From the first couple failed attempts at doing so to the time I actually do get it, edited all that out of the finished video. But because of that, yeah, it took a little longer than it should have. So if I cared about that kind of thing, I could go back and replay the game now, but nah. I'm happy with the playthrough as it is. I mean, I do want to point out, though, that since I made that video, it has been brought to my attention that one of the things I pointed out a couple times through that playthrough video ain't entirely true. I mean, I commented on how I don't think the game is perfect, and I still don't. It's the best game, but it's not a perfect, it's the best Metroid game, but it's not a perfect game. The page through your items gets frustrating after a while, and it could have just been the R or L button like most Metroid games that followed. And that last save room, where, once you get that far, you're locked out. You can't go back up to the surface. The doors are all sealed shut behind you. And once you save your game down there, that's it. Any if you don't, any items you left behind you can't get, your chance of 100%ing the game is forever lost. That I do stand on, as it is true. However, I made the claim that if you don't have enough missiles, you can't beat the final boss, and you're therefore screwed, and you have no option but to restart your file from scratch. And as it turns out, I stand corrected on that one. What I didn't realize at the time I made that video, up until just a couple weeks ago, when somebody I watched on Twitch streamed a speed run of the game and showed very clearly that charge beam attacks can hurt Mother Brain. I never knew that until just a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I stand corrected on that one. Of course, with that came feeling like a moron all the times I've played this game, and I never knew that until watching somebody else play the game. But oh well. I mean, I should. Well, looking back at it, I could say I should have known that. As some of the later bosses, you can only charge beam will work, like one of those bosses in Fusion. I won't say which one is for spoiler purposes, but there is a boss, at least for the first phase of the boss battle, only a charge beam will hurt it. Anyways, I suppose a little gameplay instead of just the title screen over and over again, as I do
The
have a lot to
last
say about
Metroid
this.
is
Well,
in
actually, not so
captivity.
much. I already pretty much
The
did.
galaxy is
Between
at
my
peace.
playthrough of the game a couple years ago and just now on this video. Of course, this recap of the series doesn't mention Prime, Prime 2, Prime 3, or Other M, Fusion, or Dread. Good thing that it doesn't mention Dread. I hate that game. I mean, I know. These days, it's the fan favorite of so many Metroid fans I speak to on Twitch or YouTube alike. And to be fair, the game itself isn't bad. It's just what kills it for me is the lack of creativity, the lack of originality, the lack of imagination they so clearly show by having so many Emmy battles and so many Tozo Kazo warrior statue boss battles. Rather than create new bosses, they just over milk and 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 over milk. Oh, by the way, did I say over milk the same battle over and over again? Granted, they changed it up a little bit, so it's not exactly the same battle every time, but still. And on top of that, they have the audacity to make you run from Emma underwater. Emmy, I keep saying Emma, by the way. Emmy, underwater, when you don't have the gravity suit yet. It has full underwater mobility. You do not. Screw you, developers. Don't be giving the game the unfair advantage that way. Middle fingers to you. So yeah, needless to say, Dread, the rightfully titled game, it is the Metroid game I dread to play. Okay, yeah, that sounds kind of cheesy saying it that way, but yeah. I mean, again, I'm not saying this game is perfect by any stretch. It's close. I mean, if I were to put bias and nostalgia and all that aside, I would say this is a 8 out of 10 game. It has its flaws, to be sure, like using the select button to page through your items gets frustrating, especially in the middle of a boss battle. That first, well, one of the earlier bosses, that plant, whatever, spore spawn or whatever it's called, is one of the, if not the most boring boss battle in the history of video game boss battles. Especially if you're not sequence breaking it and don't already have super missiles for that. Takes even longer. Space Colony. Oh, that screen doesn't glitch out like it did on my playthrough of the game. So I remember it did that, and I had to say, I actually had to point out, oh, don't worry about that. It just does that on the cutscene. The rest of the game will be fine. Yeah. Of course, I was using my old computer for that at that time, too, so that might. By the way, as I point out in that playthrough, who designed this place? I mean, imagine working here. Oh, time to go home for the night. My work shift is over. Too lazy to build stairs or ladders, so jump! Make like Van Halen. Jump! Go ahead and jump! Yeah, really? Of course, unfortunately, I didn't notice that on my own. Twitch streamer slash YouTuber Joe after work, when he played through the game a few years ago now, mentioned that. I'm watching his playthrough. And why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I notice that? Oh, it's a baby Metroid from part 2. And Ridley, who wasn't even in the original of part 2. I mean, granted, he was added to the 3DS remake, which I still say makes storyline sense. Since if you played the game in the original chronology, how does Ridley even know about this baby Metroid, much less care enough about it to attack this space station to get it? They never explained that in the original chronology, only in the remakes. And having him in the remake of part 2 makes storyline sense. Nice addition. Even though some fans don't like that either. And of course, the typical Metroid escape sequence. Every Metroid game has had it, except for maybe Dread. I don't know. I've never been able to tolerate the milky quality of Dread's overusing bosses to the point of boredom to make it to the ending of Dread. So I don't know. I mean, even just earlier today, before deciding to make this video, I tried playing Dread again. Got up to the first Emmy and literally flipped my Switch the middle finger, and then looked like an idiot for anyone who might have saw me doing so. Why are you flipping an inanimate object, the bird? Oh, it's not my Switch. It's the stupid game that the Switch is playing. Metroid Milk. I mean Dread. I mean Milk. Metroid got milk? I mean, I'm sorry. Whether it's a Metroid game or any game that overuses the same bosses as much as Dread does, screw that game. Even if it was a Zelda game that did that made you fight the same bosses over and over again unavoidably. Anyways, enough about Dread. I mean, if you like the game, that's fine. To each their own. Just don't expect me to share that opinion anytime soon. But then again, who knows? I mean, look at Dragon Warrior 2 or Final Fantasy 4. I mean, if you were following this channel from the beginning, a lot of my earlier videos, I used to diss the hell out of both games. Now I already played through one and did the first couple videos on the other. So, yeah. Who's to say in another year or two my opinions on Dread might not be completely changed around as well. Yeah. At this point, I never say never where such things are concerned. I mean, 2 years ago, if anybody would have told me I had to play through the NES original Dragon Warrior 2, yeah, or Final Fantasy 4 Super Nintendo original, yeah. So again, who knows? Maybe in a year or two I'll actually like Dread, but as of right now, no. But again, don't mind me. I mean, I got weird opinions in gaming and music anyways. I mean, come on, especially in music. Rat, Motley Crue, Dokken, Twisted Sister, Cinderella, Poison, Striper, yeah. the whole 80s rock thing. Dokken. And in video games, much less too. I mean, how many Zelda fans actually like Zelda 2? Very few that I've ever spoken to. How many Zelda... Yeah. How many Castlevania fans actually like Simon's Quest? Very few that I've ever known. So yeah, don't mind me. I have weird opinions anyways. What the heck? That wasn't there before. Smile, you're on candid camera. By the way, I kind of glazed over it in talking about other things, but anybody that played the first Metroid game, whether it's the NES original or the Zero Mission remake, either way, anybody who played the first Metroid game should easily recognize this, the iconic start screen. And the morph ball over there to the left, right where it was. Go over here and wait a minute. That wasn't a missile door before, regardless of what version of the first game you're playing. Huh. Alright. Wait a minute, I don't want to go down here. This is the way to Kraid's lair, or hideout number 1, as it was sometimes called in the NES original. Okay, what the hell happened here? The tunnels are all collapsed like I pointed out in my playthrough of the game. Of course, that was 2 years ago now. Alright, we got some missiles. Of course, 5 of them. Lately, they haven't been. Used to be that was always the amount of missiles you got for a missile pack. But lately, the 3DS remake of Part 2, it's 3. In Metroid Milk, it's 2. And anyways, by the way, not only do you always have to hit the select button to page through your power-up items, which can get frustrating and annoying, especially in boss battles, but another problem I have with this is why does it still take 5 missiles to open these doors? This would be the last time that would be the case, but still. Especially early on when you don't have a whole lot of missiles to work with to begin with. I mean, that was one of the major problems with the NES original of the first game. For quite a while, you only had that first missile pack, and every door took 5 to open, meaning you had to grind for more missiles every time you opened one of those doors. And you have that same thing in this game. What? Oh yeah, by the way, that's the energy tank I was talking about earlier, and one of the reasons my playthrough of the game 2 years ago took as long as it did. 45, like a half an hour to 45 minutes of trying to bomb jump my way up there to get that as soon as I got bombed. And how bad I suck at bomb jumping in this game. And of course, that one isn't a fault of the game, but the person playing it and talking to you now. Yeah, I suck at bomb jumping. I can't blame the game for that. That's just me. As if it were the game, nobody would be good at it. Speedrun, yeah. The speedrunning community, and this being one of the most often, the game that, or how to, one of the more popular speedrunning games of all time. Most of those speedruns rely heavily on bomb jumping, especially if you're going to go heavy on the sequence breaking. So yeah, it ain't a problem with the game, just the person talking to you now. I just suck at bomb jumping, no matter how many times I try. I mean, I've seen all of the tutorial videos that people will recommend when I point that out. Well, hey, watch this video, it'll explain it for you. I've seen all those videos and I still suck at bomb jumping in this game, so yeah. Like the Zero Mission remake of the first game, no problem. But this game, no. I can't bomb jump for crap. Took me like a half an hour to 45 minutes to get that energy tank I just showed you. One of the reasons my playthrough of the game took as long as it did, that and my compulsion for 100%ing the game. and not taking any sequence break shortcuts. By the way, the music track, Norfair, Ridley's Lair, or maybe not quite the same, but pretty damn close. It's another thing I've always liked, well, since 1999. I mean, again, like I've said in so many videos before, for the longest time, I would just turn the sound down on the TV and put on whatever rock album I wanted to hear on that day, and that would be my music for the gameplay, up until Ocarina of Time, which, as I've also explained multiple times before, is one of the reasons I have such high regard for Ocarina of Time. But yeah, afterwards, going back and replaying the older games like this one, and from then on to this day, one of my favorite video game music songs or tracks heard in the background now. I mean, granted, I've never really sat and thought about top 10 favorite video game songs, but if I did, this would have to be in there somewhere. I mean, like the 3DS remake of Part 2, where this or something similar to this plays in every single superheated hot room where you need the various suit to survive in. A lot of times, I just put the 3DS down and listen to this for a few seconds. Hey, Super Metroid music. Or if you're a Prime fan, what was it, Magmar Caverns or something like that? The fire region of that game. Yeah. Anyways, that's enough about this game. Just point being, 9 days from now, April 18th will be the 30th anniversary of this game. And again, I can't believe it's already been 30 years. Damn, I'm getting old. Oh well, how do they say that? You're only as old as you feel? And like one of the people I watch streams by on Twitch, always reminds me, I got to play these games when they first came out, which is true. Zelda, when the first game was the only one in existence. Metroid, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, or Dragon Warrior. 80s gamer, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So when I think about that, I don't mind the fact that I'm already in my early 50s. I mean, I like to joke about how God, it's been so long already. Damn, I'm getting old. But A, that gig does get old in and of itself, and B, anyways. Well, as soon as the game actually loads. Damn. People talk about Final Fantasy V, PS1 slow load times. Damn. Come on. Another series I started recording, like I've already done I think 2 or 3 videos for. Well, again, as soon as okay, this is getting ridiculous. There is a game loading, although you can't see that on screen right now. One of these years. Oh shoot, I gotta refix that. Gotta adjust that, I should say refix it. Yeah, for the 3DS, made by Grezzo, the company who remade Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and I believe developed A Link Between Worlds, part A Link to the Past remake, part new game, also for the 3DS, and its sequel, Triforce Heroes. So yeah. Actually on their own original title this time, and not just a Zelda remake, or a new Zelda game. Which was my reason for wanting to play this game when I first heard about it in the summer of 2017. Like, oh, okay. an original game made by... Okay, why not? Of course, it helped that they had a free demo downloadable on 3DS eShop, so you could download the demo and play the game. Otherwise, I might not have been so eager to get it, even though it was made by Grezzo. But yeah, I already started a series on this game. Yeah, see? Again, when I actually start uploading these videos remains to be seen. Was still doing Ocarina. Keep saying Ocarina. Oracle of Ages, immediately followed by Oracle of Seasons via the passwords. Still doing Dragon Quest VII. As of right now, having only recorded 10 videos, uploaded 5, barely scratched the surface of that game. That series is probably going to take well over 100 videos by the time I'm done. So yeah, point being, I should probably stop recording videos for other series for other games and focus on the ones I've already started, eh? No, I don't need to save the game again, I just did that. Anyways, kind of a quirky game. Elements of so many other game series. Zelda. I've heard people say Animal Crossing, although I've never played any of those games. RPG elements. Action RPG. Managing an oasis in the desert. It's a silly game, so to speak, but I like it. Of course, a lot of people have never heard of it. I think that has something to do with the fact that it's a 3DS game in June of 2017. I mean, like I point out in the first video of the series, whenever I get around to uploading that, I think had it been released earlier, or had it been released on the Switch by June of 2017, most Nintendo fans had a Switch and were playing Breath of the Wild or whatever launch title. Nobody really paid much attention to the 3DS anymore, or at least so it seems. I mean, that's why I think this game went so largely unnoticed. Had this game also been released on the Switch, of course I could be, like I point out in the first video of the series, I could be wrong about that too. Could just be that nobody likes the game, period. But, so yeah, some of the games I started recording playthroughs of: Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy V, and this game. Oh yeah, and of course Fusion. And the other purpose for this video, granted it's going to be uploaded a few days early, but happy 30th birthday, happy 30th anniversary, Super Metroid. Okay, what the heck, it did do that. Wow, it's really running slow, holy crap. Yeah, it does that a few times. Hopefully by the time I actually record more than just the first couple of videos, I can fix that. Or it may very well end up being like my Etrian Odyssey 2 playthrough, running slow at times. But anyways, future plans video / anniversary Super Metroid video. As always, thanks for watching and putting up with my sometimes goofy opinion. And we'll see you next time for either Oracle of Ages or Dragon Quest VII. See ya.